everyone, this is Nikki and I'm so glad to have you here on my channel. Today we're going to be looking at metallic cardstock. I tend to get in a rut with this, and so I came up with 3 different ways that we can use this that's not just cutting out sentiments and die cuts. The metallic paper that we're looking at today has a back that is white like regular cardstock, and the front is almost plasticky. So it's a little bit different in working with this versus working with some other cardstocks. So I'm going to show you 3 ways to think about this differently and try using some different products with it. We'll also look at a way to create metallic cardstock. If you need it in a color that you don't have, I have some ideas on how we can create it. This one is more of a glittery effect, but it's still that plasticky, shiny stuff. And the techniques that we're going to use today, we want to keep it that way. So there's specifically that plasticky, very slick surface, and it makes it a little hard to do something like ink blend, but I'm going to show you some ideas. My first idea is to emboss it. Now you have to be very careful doing this, because if you think of metallic paper, it's like it has a coating on the top that could crack and really mess up your embossing. So you want to do this very gently, but it can be done. I'm going to use a Spellbinders Platinum 6, and I'm going to show you the embossing sandwich and what it looks like. First, you need to look at your embossing folder. So an embossing folder has a part that it has 2 different things. One that's like a well and one that's pushing forward, if you know what I mean. So this one, it's only got one side of the paper that we can use. So we want to make sure, I want it bubbled up on the front. So see how these are indented up? That's what I want to put, because if I flip this over, then things are going to be indented down into my paper. And I'll try to show you that with how it comes out, what each side looks like. But you want to look at your thing and make sure that you're getting the right design on the front of the metallic paper. I did cut these in smaller sheets because, as all of you know, metallic paper is expensive. So I cut this to the size that I wanted to use it, and I'm going to put it through the die cutting machine. Okay, so all I'm going to run through is the bottom plate and the embossing folder, and it doesn't feel like it's getting a whole lot of pressure when you do this, but it still makes a nice impression. So let me show you what that looks like. And I'm sorry it shakes the camera when I use my die cutting machine on my table, but I wanted you to be able to see this sandwich and see what happens when I pull it out. So I've got it taped. Okay, so see, those are the indented in. See how I put that on the back? Now the front is going to be bubbled up. It's not going to get every little detail of those lines from the spun glass, but it looks like a quilted look, which is what I was going for. You could try running it through and doing it a little bit deeper, adding a plastic shim or adding a piece of paper or something to make these indentions deeper. But the deeper they get, the more likely they are to tear your paper. Here's what I mean. I'm going to run it through with just a piece of cardstock folded in half, and I'm going to run it through, so that adds a little extra pressure, and then I'll show you. Yes, it gets more details, but to me you can see little cracks in the metallic part of the paper, and so I didn't like it this deep. I decided that I would do a little less on mine. Here's the difference in those 2 pressures. The left is less pressure and the right is more. And do you see the little white cracks? I can kind of see those on the right side. So that's why I stuck with the one that wasn't quite as much pressure. All that's left to do on this card that has to do with our metallic topic is just basically doing a die cut. So I'm just real gentle with my die cutting so I don't flatten out my pattern too much. You could always die cut then emboss. That's perfectly fine. I just find it easier to line things up better if I've already got the embossed pattern there. In case I'm a little crooked, I can make it where it makes more sense for my heart. And here's how that final card looks. So I did do the embossing pattern on the background as well, just to kind of keep it as a focus of the card, and then added a few extra little hearts and some die cuts, and this card is done. I'll show it to you up close real quick. There you go. Lots and lots of stuff. So fun ways to use that metallic cardstock. Now I have another way we can use it. Okay, our second way, add paste with a stencil. And if you don't know what paste is, it's used for stencils and mixed media. And the paste that we're using today is called Simon Hurley's Lunar paste. It is also a metallic element. So I'm going to show you a few fun things that we can do with it. Notice I didn't use any glue on the back of my stencil. Sometimes I'll use a temporary glue called Pixie Spray, but I knew that was going to leave a residue on this metallic paper and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get that off. So I'm just being very gentle with my stencil. I've taped it down on the sides. I actually didn't put any tape across the metallic area once again because I don't want to pull any part of that metallic paper off. If you kind of think of this like a plastic sitting on top of your cardstock, if you put too much on top that can be sticky, you might pull off or mess up the coating that is placed on this paper. So I'm just going to be very gentle with my stencil. I will speed this up, but I'm going to cover this in metallic hearts. So we have metallic red paper with metallic silver hearts. It looks amazing. I can't wait for you to see the finished product. Okay, let me show you how much this stands up off the page too. It just looks so good with this beautiful metallic red, and then you're adding that metallic silver. Look at this. It works perfectly. You do need to let it dry a little bit before you start messing with it, but it looks so good. Okay, this goes with this card, so I'm going to put the bonus of making your own metallic cardstock right here in the video, and then we'll go through and we're going to do some altering to our gold, silver, some glittery cardstock with some products, and it's going to be really fun. So if you're going to make your own cardstock, if you have paste, I have this silver paste that I've already used on the previous card. Why not just die cut something and add the paste? You can also just smooth the paste on a plain piece of paper, let it dry, and then die cut it. The only downside is if you don't get it completely dry, you'll make little dents in the paste and you'll be able to see those. So I tend to die cut first and then spread the paste on there. It can be a little bit, of an ordeal because you're not really able to hold on to the piece. So I've got to keep putting some of this on there, but it really does not take a whole lot. And I think I end up doing one layer and then I let it dry for just a little bit and add one more layer, and the heart looks so good. It matches perfectly with my stencil. So let me show you the final product. So I let this dry for several hours and added that second coat, and then I let it dry overnight. But look at this heart. I just put some, it's of course a mess on the back, but I put some pop-up tape on here, added a backing to my stencil that we've already done, and then look how perfectly this matches because you've used the same paste. Such a great way to make your own cardstock. Okay, our last thing, did you know you could add alcohol ink to metallic paper? Well, let's start with this beautiful white glittery paper. We're gonna start with this one. I will show you several others, but I just grabbed 3 colors of ink refills. And so these are alcohol ink refills from Altenew. Of course, I will link everything in the description. And I'm just gonna put these on this piece of paper. So when you're doing alcohol ink, you usually need some type of very slick, non-absorbing paper, and this metallic paper serves as that. So I'm going to add extra alcohol. I'm going to blow these little colors around, and so I'm doing kind of a pink family. I thought that would be perfect for using all these hearts. So I tried this on several different metallic colors, and I'm going to show you those at the end so you can see how the colors look on different backgrounds. This white background with the sparkles was my favorite because you can really see the color. So if I put this red on a darker color, I'm not going to see the variation in that color as well. The other thing I love is that it has this glittery look to it. So you're seeing the sparkle even through your alcohol inks, which is really exciting. And I'm using regular alcohol refills, so I'm not using pearls or anything that's metallic, and they still look that way because of the paper that I'm putting them on. So I don't consider myself an expert or anything with alcohol inks, but I just love seeing color variation, and I love seeing different little ripples and splashes and things like that. I just think that makes it so interesting. So you do not have to be perfect at this. I really really don't do this a whole lot, and I have fun every time I break it out. It is a mess. You need some gloves, and you need probably something to blow. You can use a straw if you want, but you've got lots of options, and it seems like you're using tons of alcohol ink, but you get so much in the bottle, so it really does last a long time. The big thing is your paper, and in this video, I'm using up my metallic paper because I've not been using it the way that and getting the most out of it. So I wanted to see how many different ways I could use metallic paper, so I'm not worried about how many of these I make because I know I'm going to use them. So okay, so I'm going to show this to you up close, and you'll see that you can see all the sparkles and everything through there. You do need to set these aside to dry for just a little while. You can tell that it still kind of moves a little bit, but once I do that, I'm going to show you on some different colors of paper how this looks different. I'm going to use the same color inks, and I'm going to pick out some other metallic paper and show you the difference. Okay, so let's look at a matte gold paper. This is the exact same colors that I used on the white sparkly paper, and I'm adding all three real quick, and then we're going to scoot it around. So it still works on this matte paper. I feel like if you can see when I'm moving it around, it could possibly take the color out just a little bit, but the other thing is that because it's a dark background, you're not really seeing the difference in the colors that I'm putting down. It's more like just some red with a little bit of variation versus the pink and all the different colors we were getting on the white. Here's how that looks. A little more solid red looking, but looks great. Now we're going to look at holographic paper. Here's what it looks like on that. Some color variations, you've got so much color and shine and all kinds of things in the background, it looks pretty cool, but it still looks more like a solid red than a lot of variation in the color. So those are the differences in the metallic papers that I tried. I hope that you will give this a try. I think it would be awesome. Okay, so remember in this video, we went over 3 ways to use your metallic paper. This is the one that we did with alcohol ink and the sparkly white paper. The next one we used an embossing folder carefully, but we did use the embossing folder to create some amazing texture. And the third one, we used that Lunar paste, and we created with a stencil, created the pattern, and then we created our own cardstock with that Lunar paste as well. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe on the video, and if you're looking for any of these products, they will be in the description. I'm going to pop up another video I think you would enjoy here. Have a great day, guys. Bye!